Today I'm going to show you 3 fun ways that you can use Cricut SNAPMAT. SNAPMAT allows you to take a picture of your Cricut mat so that you can make sure that you have the perfect placement for your designs and images. Now this is great for using those scrap pieces of vinyl up, cutting out pictures, and even addressing envelopes. If you're new here, welcome to Little Craft Nest. My name is Nisha, and if you're returning, welcome back. Now, SNAPMAT is only available to use with your iPad or iPhone. You cannot use your desktop computer for this, and you will also need one of the Maker or one of the Explorer machines. The first fun way to use SNAPMAT is to use it for your vinyl scraps. Now, I have a bunch of scrap pieces of vinyl here that I have saved up in my scrap vinyl bin, and I am going to place them on my mat just in random spots. And what I want to do is cut out a whole pile of different hearts on Cricut Designs Space. It doesn't matter where you place your vinyl pieces on your mat, just make sure they are stuck on there good. And then you can grab your brayer and make sure they are on there. As you can see, I am using a whole pile of different colors of vinyl on the same mat, which is great because that means I'm not going to have to unload and reload my mat for each color of vinyl. I can do this all on one mat. One thing you will want to make sure of is that you are using all of the same type of material. So I am using different colors, but this is all permanent vinyl. You don't want to be mixing cardstock and vinyl together because they both require different pressure settings. So it would be wise to use a different mat for different materials. So I've opened up a new project on Design Space on my iPad. I'm going to select shapes at the bottom and let's choose some hearts. And as you'll see here on my mat, the smallest piece of vinyl I have is probably about 1 inch. So I don't want to make my shapes any bigger than 1 inch. Otherwise, I won't be able to put hearts on some of these scraps. So let's size this heart down. And I now have it sized just under 1 inch. But since I want to make lots of hearts, we are going to duplicate this. So I am going to select duplicate a number of times here. Okay, so I have 10 hearts here and they are all gray, and I'm going to keep them all the same color because if I were to change the colors of each of the hearts, Design Space would think I want to cut these out on different mats, but I want to cut these all out on the same mat. So let's go ahead and click on Make It. And below our canvas here, you'll see a button that says SNAPMAT. Go ahead and click on that. Now, I find it easier to use SNAPMAT if you go ahead and turn your iPad so it's vertical rather than horizontal. And then you're going to position your iPad over your mat, and there's blue dots that will help you line up your image. And when you have your iPad or iPhone in the right place, Design Space will automatically snap a picture of your mat. If you are happy with the picture that Design Space took, you can go ahead to the top right corner and click on Use. Now we're simply going to click on our hearts and drag them to where we want them to go. So I can put one here on this piece of vinyl, grab the next one, we can drag that one on the purple piece, and position each heart where you want it to go. Now, you don't have to do hearts. You can have a completely different image you're working with. You can even do a whole pile of names for this method, and that would work as well. Once you're happy with the placement of everything, click on Next. And just like usual, we are going to select the material we are using. And today I'm using the premium outdoor vinyl. And now all you need to do is load your mat and let your Cricut cut out your hearts. And here are all our hearts cut out. Nothing went over the edge. Everything is exactly where I placed it. And then all you have to do is go ahead and weed those out. Now, let's say you want to address this letter and find the perfect placement for your written text. In this case, we are not going to be cutting anything out. We are going to be using a Cricut pen. So if we jump on to the iPad here, I've already typed out Little Craft Nest and I've set the operation to pen. So let's go ahead and click on Make It. And once again, we are going to use the SNAPMAT feature. So click on SNAPMAT at the bottom. Let's make sure our letter here is lined up at the top. And the best way to make sure you get the perfect shot with your iPad is having your mat on a blank surface, not a crowded table with a bunch of layers underneath it. Maybe you want to put your mat on the floor or on a plain table or desk. And if you're happy with the picture that Design Space took, go ahead and click on Use. And then we are going to click on a little craft nest here and position this right in the center. Then click on Next. And since we're not cutting anything, we're just drawing, I am going to select copy paper, and then I'm going to grab my black pen and put it in the Cricut Maker and have my Cricut draw out the text. And here is our envelope with the text drawn on with our Cricut pen. Now there's one more fun thing that we can do with SNAPMAT. So let me take this off. And what you can do is cut around a picture. So if you don't want to use print then cut, although I highly recommend print then cut, and you have a picture that's already been printed, you can go ahead and put that on your mat. And you could have your Cricut cut a star around your image, a heart, a circle, really whatever you wanted to. So let's go ahead and do this with this pumpkin picture. I know it's not a very exciting picture, but this is what we're working with today. So if I grab a ruler and measure my pumpkin, it's just under 5 inches. So I am going to create a 5-inch circle in Design Space. So if we go to Shapes at the bottom, click on the circle, tap on the circle, and then I'm going to edit the circle, and under height or width, it doesn't really matter which one you select. We can change that to 5, and there is our 5-inch circle. Now we can go ahead and click on Make It, and once again, go down and click on SNAPMAT. Take a picture of your mat, and when you're happy with it, click on Use. And then we're going to take this circle and position it over top of our pumpkin so that our Cricut will cut right around it. When you're happy with the placement, click on Next. And this picture is actually on copy paper, so I am going to select copy paper. But if your picture is on photo paper, make sure you select the right material. And now we can load our mat and get this pumpkin cut out. So here is our pumpkin cutout, and we can go ahead and peel this right off the mat. And we have a perfect circle around our pumpkin. So those are 3 fun ways that you can use SNAPMAT. We got our scraps, our writing on our envelope, and cutting out pictures. Let me know if you've used SNAPMAT in any other way. I'd love to know. And let me know if you have used this feature or not before. One other tip that I will pass on to you is that I often like designing better on my desktop than I do on my iPad. So what I will do is design first on my desktop computer and then save it and then open it up on my iPad to be able to use SNAPMAT. So if you're like me and you prefer designing on your desktop better than the iPad, you can do that. If you learned something new today, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.